Hi, George. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, mate.
So I think we're going to start off with Jason from Fight View 360 first. Jason, I know you've got a couple of questions, so if you want to jump in.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, g'day, George. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Self.
Mate, doing really well. Mate, with this fight, what impact are you going to make on this fight, and what weaknesses are you going to expose to Selby in the fight? You know, you need to make a big impact on this because the race is on in Australian boxing at the moment. Things are looking pretty good. So what are you going to do to, get up with the likes of the Maloney twins with their potential fights?
So this is a huge fight. It's a world title eliminator, and obviously we all know what's after this, a unified title fight. So this, on my behalf, is huge for Australian boxing. We know what we've been doing. We're fighting for world champions and we're chasing world champions. And I'm here to make a massive statement against Lee Selby. There's a lot of holes in his game, and we're here to expose every single one of them. I'm not going to tell you what our game plan is, but it's going to be a painful boxing lesson for Lee Selby.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, mate. So once you get past, you'll be number one contender for Lopez. Is there a plan to bring that fight out to Australia, considering that there was publications that Bob Arum was going to have you to fight Lomachenko pre-COVID, and knowing that Australia is pretty much the only country at the moment that get half-decent crowds?
You tell me, 60,000, 70,000 people in a stadium in Australia? Tell me it doesn't make sense? When I'm mandatory, I think it makes sense for everybody. Personally, I love Marvel Stadium. Melbourne would be fantastic, but again, it depends how they're going. But look, I'm a Sydney boy, and ANZ Stadium would be massive. Fill it out. It's all there. It's all there for the taking. And when I do the business this Saturday against Lee Selby, that will be the next one. I'm very confident in that.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you, mate. And Australia's right behind you, mate. So good on you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll fly that flag with all my heart.
Nah, mate, you'll do us proud. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Jason. Next up, we've got Ron Lewis from Boxing Scene.
Sorry about that. Hi, mate. You haven't boxed at home for 3 years. I mean, do you think it's something that all Australian fighters are having to face these days, that they have to go around the world to make big fights happen for them?
Look, that's the way I want it. After I got to 10-0, I flew straight to the US and I started getting the heavy sparring, the sparring with the contenders, the veterans, the guys that have been there, the former world champions and the world champions. That was always the plan, to mix it with the best. And we stayed in the US. And then, our last 6-7 fights have all been overseas, all over the world. And I feel comfortable. I'm used to it. I can adapt. And, again, being in another country suits me best. It motivates me to get another country behind me, especially with the UK fans that will be tuning in.
Do you think it will help you then on Saturday? The fact you're used to being the away fighter there's going to be next to no one there on Saturday. Have you an idea of what it will feel like? And that'll be a better sign than having everyone booing you anyway, certainly, put it that way.
Yeah, well, you got to think, I fought on some big shows, but I was very early in the night. I went from headlining shows in Australia and packing out arenas to getting early on the big shows in the US and all over the world. So I'm used to it. I've been in this situation before, fighting in front of hardly anyone. So I fought Mickey Bey, a former world champion, first fight of the night in Madison Square Garden. The first 4 or 5 rounds was pretty empty, and then it got filled up. So it doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, it's going to bother Selby more. He's at home, but he can't even have his own friends or family here. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this fight.
How much did that going to America, going to places like the Wild Card where they throw you in with almost whoever's in the gym? How much did that sort of like make you compared to what you'd have been doing back home?
The quality of sparring. You got to think early, that sparring that I got overseas was huge. Like I said, world champions, former world champions, veterans, guys that have been around the US and the world scene, for years and years. That quality, you can't beat it. And I took the risk. If I couldn't mix it up with guys like that, I would have went back home and, done what I had to do in Australia and fooled the public and, done what my level was at. But I excelled. And that's when I got more and more opportunities. You got to think, the opportunities from sparring these guys, I've got opportunities to spar legends and legendary fighters like Pacquiao. So.
Yeah, I was saying, was Pacquiao the best guy you ever sparred?
Look, 250 rounds with the man. He's a legendary fighter, and his speed and power plus my speed and power. We're very, very similar fighters. It was fantastic sparring, and you top that. You can't put anyone past when it comes to sparring.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Good luck Saturday.
Ryan Elliott from Boxing Social, if you want to jump in, please.
Hi, George. How you doing, mate? Thank you for joining us.
Mate. No problem.
Just to follow up on where you were there with regards to Manny Pacquiao, I was doing a bit of reading and a bit of listening as well about your time with Manny. Can you just sum up, if possible, from those 250-odd rounds, what it is you learned from one of the legends of the game?
There's been a lot that I learned with him, but look, all the 1% things that a legendary fighter does is what made my game even better. To see how, and be a part of preparing every single day with him for his world title fights, his 12-round fights, put me in such a good state that I know what I have to do for my 12-round, world title eliminators, world title fights. So, all them small little details. Obviously, I'm an extreme trainer. I train so hard. I feel like I'm one of the best athletes, in the world when it comes to training. And so is he. So pushing myself alongside him, it was fantastic. But the 1% things, a small detail that takes you from, where I am now to become a world champion and then becoming a legendary fighter is been very important what I picked up.
I read a fascinating story about when you were out there with Manny, about you going for your morning run under military guard, George. Has this training camp been a little bit more low-key?
Yeah, well, we always had military with us, but especially that day when we did get some threats coming from ISIS. They're just taken out of town, so we did have a lot of military, and it was quite a scary time. But this camp, obviously, I'm in Miami now with my lead trainer Javier Centeno, and definitely no military or any threats like that. The biggest threat is the pandemic, the coronavirus. So I'm moving away from the pandemic and the coronavirus, making sure that doesn't get me. It's a lot easier not getting that than getting hit by a sniper.
And George, final one from me before I pass you on to everyone else. This is a big week for Australian boxing on the big stage. How does it feel for you personally to be at the forefront and be flying the flag for your nation on the world stage?
Look, it's huge. Like I said, I hold the Australian flag with me. This is massive for Australian boxing, and I feel like I'm leading the pack. I feel like I've been leading the pack for the last few years. I've been overseas, I've been doing my thing, and I've been chasing the hardest and best fights. And finally, we're here. We're fighting the former world champions, and we're in a world title eliminator position where we know we're going to win this fight. There's no ifs or buts. We're winning this fight.
Right, George. Thank you very much. Best of luck. I'll pass you on to the other guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Joe, if you want to jump in for seconds out.
You okay, George?
All right, mate.
So originally you were meant to top the bill. It was scheduled for you to top the bill. Now you're co-main event in a massive pay-per-view here in the UK. Which would you have rather?
It doesn't bother me, to be honest. I always adapt to whatever it is. I'm as long as I got Lee Selby in front of me. But this is massive. This is a huge platform. Chisora and Usyk are massive names in world boxing. So for me to be co-featuring, I'm here, looking to steal the show. I've co-featured a massive show before. Obviously, Joseph Parker, when he defended his world title fight, I was the co-feature in that and had a massive win, and I stole the show that night as well. So I feel a lot of similarities from that fight to this fight. Not only the way Selby moves and the way I fought an opponent, the way he moved, but big show, big platform, TV, and we're going to make a huge statement.
Do you think the exposure would have been bigger if you were to headline your own card, or do you think being on pay-per-view, being underneath the likes of Oleksandr Usyk and Chisora, you're going to get more exposure this way?
I think the exposure is going to be huge. Like Selby is really, he's done and dusted. I don't know how many people wanted to tune in to see Selby. I know a lot of people wanted to tune in to see Kambosos, but I don't know on his side if we just were the headline in May 9th. But this is a better situation. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm just excited that I get to fight this guy finally. It's been a long time coming, and I tell you, I can't wait. If I could fight him right now, right this second, I'd be ready to jump in right now. I'm
not surprised. It's been a long time coming, and this fight's been rescheduled too many times. So I'm excited as well. How long do you think you can get to a world title then? Because I know you're a confident guy. Do you think this win and then another couple, and then you've got your mandatory?
Next. Next,
Yeah.
I'm mandatory. I'm on the award after this. I'm mandatory, and it won't be just a world title; it'll be a unified title fight. I'll tell you that will happen.
And who do you think that could be against? Because obviously Lopez is looking at Devin Haney, perhaps aka the email world champ. He said. Do you think this is still a very stacked division? Who do you think you could fight?
I tell you, he's looking at us. I'm telling you now, he's looking at us. Devin Haney, yeah, they got big names. Ryan Garcia got big names, but he's not going to fight these guys. He's going to be looking at us, so he can make the most money fighting us. Like I said, you bring that fight to Australia, 50, 60, 70,000 people will fill out a stadium. It will be the biggest event in world boxing.
And obviously, being from Australia, there's obviously another big fight in Australia this weekend. What do you think it is that's helping the Australian fighters get such a big name these days in boxing, especially over the last couple of years?
We've got a few guys that are willing to take risks and willing to, step out of the comfort zone. The past with Australian fighters, they like to stay in Australia and just, make money and suck the fans. But the fans got over it. The fans realised what was happening, and they left the sport and they didn't want to see it. But finally, guys like myself leading the pack and a few other guys have taken the risk and said, look, we'll go overseas. I've been overseas for 4 years. Like I said, I haven't fought in Australia for 6, 7 fights. So, I've been taking the risk for a long time, and I feel like I've been leading the pack. I was one of the first to do it.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see Malone versus Inoue going this weekend?
Tough fight. The Japanese fighter is an incredible talent. But look, you've got to back your own. And I'll definitely back Maloney. Hopefully he can pull the big upset.
And obviously, being that you're in the UK now, would you like to stay and fight here a lot longer if you win or lose? Do you think it's good for your career staying in the UK?
I'd love to fight in the UK again. Obviously, this fight has got no fans behind closed doors, but I've got such a big UK fan base over here. I get so many messages saying that we wish we could come to the fight. We wish we could be there. And I told them all that I promised them that I will come back here and fight. Obviously win that world title and possibly defend it against the upcoming UK fighter in the future.
Nice. One more question. I've seen your YouTube channel showing like little clips of you spar, little clips of you in training, sparring, and everything like that. What's your motivation behind that?
Look, we just like to show the fans, guys like yourself, that want to see what us athletes are doing. I love putting little bits and pieces and keeping the fan base and keeping everyone happy to see, okay, that's what goes down in the boxing world. That's how hard it is. A lot of people just see, the night of the fight, but there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, to lead to them special moments.
Yeah, I've watched them a lot of times, and I've tried to copy what you're doing, but it's too hard, man. It's sharp.
Practice, and you'll get it.
That's it, man. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
No, pleasure.
Lastly, we have time for Jeremy. So, Jeremy, do you want to jump in before we let George on with his day? Cheers.
Fantastic. George, good to see you, and thank you for taking the time.
Pleasure, thank you.
I know that you've been on the record talking about the 4 rounds in the past that you've sparred with Lee Selby. I just asked him about it. He said it wasn't really memorable. What did you see in those 4 rounds that told you that, you know what, I've got this guy. I can take him?
It was a while ago. It was like 3 years ago. But from the sparring that I got, exactly how he fights, he likes to tap and run and move. And there was nothing there. There really wasn't anything there, anything special. Every time I touched him, he ran even more. So that was with 14, 16-ounce gloves. So when I put these little 8s on, it's going to be a massive, massive difference. And he'll feel it straight away. And that was a long time ago. I'm a different beast. I've come into my prime right now. I'm hitting harder than ever. And he'll realise that from the first second when I hit him.
He's an elusive fighter, as you've kind of discussed there. Footwork, movement around the ring. How confident are you that you can cut him off, trap him, and what possibility do you see for a possible knockout?
Their mold legs are not going to be moving as much as he has in the past. As soon as I hit him, he's going to crumble. I'll tell you now, he will crumble. He can try to do whatever he wants, but it's not going to work. I have too much in my favour. I'm young, I'm hungry, I'm fresh, and look, it's going to be a big win, a big statement.
Talking about his age, have you seen a decline in his last few performances from your perspective?
Yeah, look, you can see his last 2 fights. They've been terrible fights, boring fights, and you can see by his fan base and even the UK public, there's really no interest. There really is no interest for Lee Selby.
Last question. As far as your preparation mentally, have you been looking at one or two fights in particular on video?
Every fight. We've been looking at every fight we get our hands on. I think I know Lee Selby better than he knows himself.
Sounds good. Thank you, George.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate that, and we'll see you again at the press conference on Thursday. Next up, we've got Savannah Marshall joining very shortly. Just a reminder, if you can turn your cameras on if you're planning on asking her a question. We've got quite a few media looking to talk to her, so if you could try and limit it to 1 or 2 questions so we can fit her in the 15-minute slot. So I think first off, we'll go to Mark Staniforth from PA, who I've just spotted there.